Connersville Board of Public Works is now in session. Please rise. I have the Pledge of Allegiance by Tim Bentley.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everyone would please silence their phone. Daniel, would you give invocation, please? Sure.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for the opportunity we have to be here today. We thank Thee for the blessing of being Americans and living in this free country. We thank Thee for the Board of Works. We ask Thee to bless each of the members of the Board of Works that they might be able to conduct their business today in a way that would please Thee. We thank Thee for our city, our county. We ask Thee to bless all those who work to improve it. We pray for a blessing upon the sick and the afflicted and those that need Thy care. We ask for these favors and blessings and any others that we need. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dan. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone. Go ahead and have roll call.
Jim Barrett, Tim Bentley,
Here.
Jerry Irvin, Annette Reedman. Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. We're going down to the reading of the minutes of August 19th. Is there any additions or corrections?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Give a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Going down to item 3, new business. Dennis?
Thank you for having me today. I'm Dennis Fritz, F-R-I-T-Z. I represent the Whitewater Valley Walkers. We're a hiking club that's affiliated with the Whitewater Canal Trail down in Metamora. And for a number of years, we've held walks down there. But once a year, we hold a walk someplace besides on the trail down there. We've been to Whitewater State Park. We've been in Brookville. This year, I would like your permission to walk here in Connersville. Here's a little brochure on what we are proposing. We have 5K, which would be 3 mile, or 10K, which would be 6 mile walks. The 5K walk this year, I had planned to start at Roberts Park, go up the Nickel Plate Trail, around and back to the start point. Maybe I'll need some walking in Whitewater and Roberts Park. The 10K is a little over 2 miles up there. We would come here to the center of town, go around the courthouse, check out Depot, et cetera, and then walk back north on Grand and back to Roberts Park. The date is October 26th. We would start people from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I just finished renting the Park Road Pavilion from Parks Department, so that'll be our start and finish point from there. So I don't need, is the Chief of Police here? I've got a copy of my proposed route here if you want to see that. But it's pretty straightforward, just on city streets. It's not timed. I don't think we need any crossing guards or anything like that. Our people are experienced walkers. We do use signs to mark the trail. So this is usually the 5K, this is usually the 10K. And I either tape them up or staple them. But if we staple them, we come by and we remove every single staple that we put in to take care of your power poles and anything else that we staple to. So any questions that you have of me representing?
Look, appreciate you doing this.
Okay, and I'll work with the News Examiner and so forth through some local publicity and so forth, see if we can bring a few people and some restaurant meals and things like that to Connersville. So, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Do we need the approval of the police department as far as setting up the route?
He's not gonna need anything from us, they're experienced walkers, they're just gonna obey traffic laws and.
Okay,
So it's not timed, we talked about it, so
Okay.
it's all good.
very good.
Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion second to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sure, I've got a number here. Anybody else want a copy?
Okay, going down to item B.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Linda and Shirley.
Okay, we're here today just to give information on the Opportunity Zone and on a proposed project for the Kmart property and something that we're looking at for Office Park. Both pieces of property are in the Opportunity Zone. And Shirley has, that's the map of our Fayette County Opportunity Zone. The Opportunity Zones were created with the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and they established the program to provide tax incentives for private, and that's the operative word, private long-term investment in economically distressed communities. Investors in Opportunity Zone funds are given an opportunity to defer and potentially reduce tax on recognized capital gains. So one of the important things that we need to remember for the Opportunity Zones policies is that they're designed to benefit low-income communities. So actually, Fayette County could have been an entire Opportunity Zone, but the particular one was chosen by Governor Holcomb for Fayette County. There are 156 zones in Indiana. 46 of them are considered rural, and Fayette County's is one of the rural ones. But the Opportunity Zone policy was designed to benefit low-income communities, and the residents of those communities must have a voice in the process. An impact framework must be clear and accessible avenues for communities to provide input. In the packet that I gave you is a flyer for the September 26th Bright Ideas Conference Workshop. And the reason it was conceived was to meet the obligation of community zones. And so the focus of the conference, it'll be for any Fayette County resident who chooses to attend either during the day or in the evening. Jeff Plaster will be presenting data on industry, housing, and demographics for the county. And Eric Muehlhausen with Prince Alexander will be doing what we call silver linings. So be introducing what we need to change, what the people want to change, and to begin to think about how to turn those into silver linings for the community. So we wanted to share that. You're all welcome to attend. We'd love to have you so that we can begin to focus on the Opportunity Zone and the Kmart and Office Park property. And Shirley will do that portion.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Shirley.
For those of you, Mayor and Rosemary and Mr. Birch, this was the copy that I left in the copier when we came earlier, just to bring you an update on the Kmart project. And I handed out a little 3-page flyer. Well, this was the copy that I left on my copier, so this was just page 4. But
Just the most important.
Yeah.
well, Linda reminded me to talk about what we had proposed for the community center, for our Fairview Community and Innovation Center. And so I'm just going to run down the headings. And number 1, a commercial kitchen that would provide meals for assisted living senior apartments, provide a kitchen for large event conference, provide meals for the Cozy Cafe. The Cozy Cafe would be a meeting place for the community center users. Also, refreshment, snacks, gymnasium users, kind of like the little snack center at the Golay Center, just where you can meet and grab a snack, candy bar or something if you're running in and going to play basketball or pickleball or something like that. An event venue where you could have wedding receptions, conventions, free fair and agricultural events. Youth community and senior sports activities, indoor soccer, volleyball, basketball, pickleball, archery. Education and innovation, non-traditional education and innovation. Classrooms for science and technology, classrooms and space to teach patio gardening, robotics, radio-controlled vehicles, drone technology for the agricultural courses, and even competitions in there. hoping to set up something with IUPUI apprenticeship program, something that would be additional classrooms that goes farther than what they can get out at school with their construction trades and what have you. So additional building trades, construction, HVAC, electricians, plumbing, stonemasons, landscaping, flooring, etc. Things that we really need in this community if we're to have a positive impact on the housing in this community. Housing rehab for Connersville, Fayette County. Convert, refurbish homes in the Opportunity Zone. We talked about the park, the Kmart being right smack in the middle of the Opportunity Zone. Well, in the northern part of the Opportunity Zone, there's Office Parks, which was, I think, 50s housing, and also Beeson's Addition. Some of those homes could benefit from a green energy refurbish so that they could reduce their cost of heating and cooling and make it more affordable. So we could hire drug court participants and graduates using real dollars and sweat equity, use the Community Innovation Center as a base for the construction work, scheduling, etc. That goes along partway with the opportunity funds. When we first made this presentation to you about the Kmart, and thanks to Dan, you know, the idea that we might possibly have this gifted to the right not-for-profit. It has always been a combination of a for-profit and a not-for-profit. The not-for-profit and community center, I noticed that the Parks and Recreation Center just recently put out new fees for not-for-profits. But there's a huge need in this community for places where people can go. Kids can go to have fun, adults can go to have fun, where you don't have to pay a lot of money to play basketball or to play pickleball or any of the other things. All of the things that might be made possible. But even those rates are a little steep. And so if we have a community center that would be funded similar to like the Golay Center, then, you know, perhaps we can make it even more affordable. The indoor and outdoor walking tracks, recreation, outdoor volleyball court for the campground, outdoor basketball courts, and 2 lighted tennis courts again, so that would enhance the camping experience that the Fair Board already participates. They have a full house camping every year at the fair, but maybe they could extend that for a couple of other events. There's always a need for big RV parking, and if we do have something like that that goes along with the short course indoor swimming pool that would be open year-round, by the way, that would be available to the public. I think, Mayor, we talked about in the event last week, or was it the week before, swimming for silver sneakers, pool laps, again, much like the things that are offered up at the Golay Center.
I'm glad you said silver streakers, because I kept saying silver streakers. So I'm glad you...
No, where his mind is.
The tennis shoes are maybe in the pool of swim fins, but
But age group swimming.
Age group
Having
swimming.
been involved in that and seeing the number of people who attend that, it's a moneymaker.
on the next column here in this handout, there's revenue producing. So it's not just all about a community center that would be a freebie. These are items that we expect to be a revenue producing inside this building. It's a huge building. On the presentation, the sizes are from Dan from back several years ago when he's trying to find a home or find someone to use it as a home. There's 94,000 square feet almost. So there's lots of possibilities to do. And I talk with people every day that are excited about this and that they have children or relatives in another community that are converting these old buildings that are no longer good for their original purpose, but they're repurposing the buildings to assist in the community.
And this building does meet the Opportunity Zone requirements for real estate.
May I ask a question, Shirley? I think you said that this is for private investors.
The Opportunity Zone and the Opportunity Funding was created in the state of Indiana, but all over the United States.
Okay.
But for an opportunity for private investors. There was a small Opportunity Zone set up just in Fayette County, or Franklin County rather, for just a couple of individual investors, but large and small. After we made the presentation to you last December, we started looking for how in the world are we going to fund this? If we should be so fortunate to have it gifted, how are we going to fix it once we get it, you know? And specifically, it was going to take a lot of money. And in talking with different ways, I've gathered lots of USDA, private agricultural, state of Indiana, Okra, you name it, where you could get funds, we've investigated. But the Opportunity Zone funding was created by the Tax Act of 2017. And it allows for the people who have capital gains to put those capital gains in these funds that they can then turn out and use as to help devastated counties or economically challenged counties.
And Walmart is in this opportunity zone.
Walmart is also.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
But
Walmart.
strictly Kmart is too, they both are. This is a blown up picture of the Opportunity Zone. Here is the south end, 11th Street, and the north end is just right at the edge of Meadow Field. And this is the river along the whole east barrier. In that other page that goes along, I'm just going to read some of the, well, I guess,
The senior, the assisted living too.
there is assisted living as well. But the community center was the ones that we went down before. When we started talking with the representatives from the Opportunity Zone, where we realized that, number one, if our project was in this, and we learned that in fact it was, how in the world can we afford to get the people that know how to put these packages together? And that's where we met with the folks from Strategis. And they asked us to put together a budgetary package about what we thought it would take to convert that whole property, that whole 9-acre property, into this public-private, the community center, Fairview Community and Innovation Center, and the assisted living / senior living apartments, up to 90 apartments in the front area. And they asked us for budgetary numbers. And so I met with contractors, went toured the building. Dan has taken me initially and several times since, and we've communicated back and forth about the deterioration of that building. But met with contractors, what it would take to put that back into using. Bottom line, the concrete is outstanding, and the biggest part of the roof is usable. Yes, you have to have a new roof, but the steel, the structural steel, the posts, the pillars, they cost millions of dollars literally to recreate that today. So we put together the estimate. I did change and bump the estimate up for what I thought with the 100-unit assisted living. It's a living document. As I learn more information or get information from contractors, what we can and can't do, then I try to update it. And so I'm to update the Board of Works like we updated the City Council last week, and later this afternoon we're going to speak with the commissioners and the County Council. We're looking for support from the community. We're looking for support from the City of Connersville, the Board of Works, the Parks Department, the Fair Board, everybody, and all of the city and county stakeholders that could benefit from, number one, the assisted living, number two, the community center. Do you have any questions for me?
I think it's a glorious plan. It sounds wonderful. And I know you and I talked a year ago when you just started bringing it up. And
The fact that the Strategis, they are an arm of Ice Miller attorneys in Indianapolis, and they helped bring about a $47 million project to South Bend. I used to live in Plymouth, and it came about, one of the many things, the tragedies. Remember what happened when we closed our pool how many years ago? They closed the Plymouth, Indiana pool in 2012, and they didn't have a pool period. And people got together and started looking for what can we do? And bottom line, they have gotten the funding approved for these opportunity zones. They're using other funding.
Here it is.
Newmarket, Marshall County Life Center. So that's just an example of what can be done for an area that was devastated by one thing or another, you know, whether it was the recession, probably so. I mean, the recession caused a lot of issues, but this was a way, and Strategis will, on a commission basis, take on and put together the funding package, and again, on a commission basis. And the rate is based on the likelihood of getting the project put together and done.
We had hoped to use a group that they work with out of South Bend called InFocus. It's associated with Notre Dame, and it's graduate fellows that they use. And they were instrumental in putting together the package using discovery, design, and implementation for the whole South Bend actually it's $49 million project. But it was $25,000 to use them, and we don't have that. So we're with the Bright Ideas Conference was very exciting to our fellows from Strategis, because that's the way they've done it before and the way that InFocus could have done it. But because we have talent in Fayette County that we can tap into, we can do that. It probably won't be as tight and as well done as InFocus, but we're going to give it a.
Let me ask a question. Do you have any kind of a, like, we had some people look at the Kmart building. John, where's John? Can you bring that picture up? No, not that one. Okay, this picture here, this here is the Kmart building with the housing on it. One of the things I talked to...
Tearing the Kmart down and putting housing there.
Yes. And the Board of Realtors, I showed that to one of their members, and they're excited about, this was just the first concept. This plan here did not cost us a dime. The contractor and the developer come in, and they've done this for free. So if the people are interested in putting something like that in the zone, they should be putting the money up. Now, I don't think, I mean, if it's going to be a 501c3 or 501(c)(3),
C3.
yeah, but this was done for free.
Well, certainly, the assisted living portion, I mean, when we have to gather approval from the community and get interest from the stakeholders. And Strategis has to learn from interviewing the different stakeholders in the community, and that's why I'm, again, presenting it, and Linda. So there has to be interest in proceeding with this project. In saving the Kmart building, turning it into a community center, and doing the for-profit investment for the assisted living / housing, much like the Pattern Mill apartments. You know, that's a beautiful example of what can be done with your redevelopment commission, Mayor, and what can be done if the redevelopment commission could accept this property from the Redstone group. So again, but there's lots of things that have to be done. There's probably a dozen things that can be done, but truthfully, when you look at the number of units that you want to put in there, and again, I think we spoke, in the county, you have to have 3 acres, and the whole property up there is 9 acres. Can you imagine putting 31 houses, even though they're nice condos, and 40 apartments, all on that little small acre? So it would be
60.
I think they'd be pretty jam-packed in there. But that's neither here nor there. We'll have to come to consensus on what is the best.
Well, one of the things, Shirley, when I talked to the Board of Realtors, they said that one of the things they lack is housing. And when I showed him this drawing, well, that's one of the members, he was excited about it, because that was just the first concept, okay? And this here was on being gifted to us, okay? I think now Redstone's getting a little idea that now that property is worth some money. Because I sent them a letter a few weeks ago, because one of the things they asked me was, do you want this land? And I sent them back a yes. Well, now I haven't heard back from them. I haven't heard back. It's been, Dan, when did I send that letter? 2 weeks?
Well, you sent 2, so basically asking for the same thing.
And because one of the things, when I sent the first letter, they wasn't sure that we wanted it. So then they said, do you want this land? That, not maybe, I have to go get the email, but then I said, yes. Well, we haven't heard anything about it. It goes, I wanted to slide that into the redevelopment commission. Because we was working with this developer and contractor to do something like this.
Well, again, doing something like that is, you know, applaudable, but there's a lot of things you can do, and you and I spoke.
Yeah.
We can build apartments in a lot of places, and, you know, I applaud some of our, you know, the Leonard Urban, or the, not the Leonard Urbans, the Walt Leonard and Mason McGraw, we can build apartments in a lot of places, but you can't really get a community center that already has the concrete and the steel structure that would be gifted also, that you wouldn't have to tear everything down and start over, because I don't see room for a community center on there. I see room for apartments.
Yes.
Shirley, let me address that, because in knowing about this particular approach, there are certain hoops that have to be jumped through because the opportunity zones were created for low-income folks. So it has to meet certain criteria, and I don't know if that will.
Well, this is not an opportunity zone project. This here is between a developer and a contractor. The city would have, except for maybe, you know, giving abatements and stuff like that later on, the city or the county would have no money involved in that.
Are these
That
for
is,
are these the executive condos you were speaking about?
well, these are nice condos. Because one of the things we heard from if you read the demographics, there's no housing here for the, how do I say it?
Upscale.
Well, and this is one of the things that they're looking for. And even Jeff Plaster, I think if you talk to Jeff, he'll agree with us. But there's no money involved in this from the city or the county. This is all private monies coming in, because they're the ones that looking for the profits. You know, we're not going to pay them nothing. Because if you look at the red there, those were businesses they were going to put in. Because when you got that many people in there, they was wanting to use that for the people to walk down there and go to maybe a coffee shop, ice cream shop, whatever. I was also, the fair board wanted 50 feet to the east. And so we was going to give the fair board, well, not yet, because, so you get to hear this early, but we was going to donate them the 50 feet, providing they build a walkway from that back part there to the park. To give them a walkway to the fair, to the park, whatever. So, but it's still not off the board, and so that's what we were looking at. And this was with economic development, redevelopment, and these two contractors. Well, the developer and the contractor.
Well, my
Carol, how
understanding,
serious are they?
Huh?
How serious is the developer in?
Well, it depends on that property.
Whether he gets the
he
property
wanted
for
it
free.
gifted.
He wants the property gifted.
Well, I mean, no, that would help. The property for free would be, the property for free would be better, but it's not a done deal. It's not off yet, because they're still going to get their savings if that's the way, if they have to go to the opportunity zone way. So that's what we've been working on.
Then if they go the opportunity zone, then it has to meet the opportunity zone requirements.
Those people know how to do it.
So does Strategis.
But
So it sounds like we have two very good
this is one thing,
opportunities.
yeah.
Two proposals.
This is one of the things that we talk about, you know, we tried to get to where everybody, see, I didn't know Bright Ideas existed. And because it was with
Because of
Voices.
what we've been doing.
It was with Voices. We were working with Voices, we were working with Discover Connorsville, we were working with another one. And this is what we were working on. And so this is what and I'm afraid that we might have lost the opportunity for getting that building free. Because when I looked at your paper, it said they was asking $1 million and we was going to give $800,000. So I'm afraid now that the redevelopment, that the Redstone is saying, we got two different groups wanting this property. And so they said it's worth 800,000, because I think down there it was 14 something. And if you take the 800,000,
Mayor, it's on the GIS system, how much the land is worth.
yeah.
And he's
But there was
aware
no
of
bidding war.
But I will tell you that when I talked to him several months ago, he said that it was not to their benefit to gift it because they couldn't come out with enough to benefit themselves as a charitable gift. And that's exactly what he told me.
Well, all I know is maybe 2 weeks ago, I sent them a letter. They asked me if I wanted to, because I sent them one,
that. And he hasn't responded back. Am I-
not since this come out.
He's known about this for a long time.
Well,
He's
yeah,
known about
I'm not
this.
saying that. I'm saying when you approached, now I think they got it's like when a new building goes up, the land goes from 5,000 acre to 10,000, and I think they've got wind of this now, and now instead of gifting it, but what I'm asking is why don't, instead of just coming in and saying, okay, this is what we got, why can't we see a picture? Why can't we see something like that? If these people are that interested and they want that piece of property to do something like that, why aren't they coming in and going, okay, this is what the building is going to look like?
This is me, and I've given you
Well, you said strategious.
strategic.
Strategis is working with us as far as the opportunity zone. They do put together the package that gets presented to an opportunity fund, like PNC, like Sinair, like the different funds, LISC, funds that are available through the state of Indiana, are available in the state of Indiana.
So you're telling me you have people that's willing to divert money into the opportunity fund right now?
Correct.
No, well, don't, no, wait a minute.
People are-
Wait a minute. There are funds already set up. What Strategis does, in fact, there are several groups. There's the consortium that help folks like us who want to access opportunity funds for projects like this that are in an opportunity zone to fund it. And that's what Strategis does, and that's what we've been talking to them since the end of April, on putting together that package that would then be presented to an opportunity fund, that fund would then make the decision if they want to fund the project. That's how that works. Am I correct?
Correct.
Well, we was in IAC conference AM conference this week, and we went to an opportunities meeting, and Ice Miller was there. And one of the things, now this is a private, so if you're asking for money for a nonprofit, how are you going to get the money from the opportunity zone into a nonprofit? Because these people are looking for tax breaks. They're not.
They get their tax break when they invest capital gains in an opportunity fund. And it's all in that packet that I gave to the city council and I just gave to you.
Okay.
They make their investment into the fund. And it can be set up, they have some equity ownership. It's an equity proposition. So they have some equity ownership. But it's available to both nonprofits and for-profits.
But from what I got from the meeting down in French Lick was, they usually don't fund nonprofit.
But they will.
And
And
we have
they-
had
and
3
they-
different meetings
Okay,
with
well.
Strategis Group.
Okay.
And again, they asked us to put this proposal together, this budgetary, to see if we could go to the next step. And we gave that to them, and then they told us, yes, let's go to the next step.
And the next
then-
step is the conference, the workshop, to get feedback from the community.
Okay, so you're having this done. Where are you getting the money to do with Strategis?
It's on a contingency basis. Doesn't cost us anything unless and until we would get funding, and then their funding comes out of the entire package. So it doesn't, we're not paying anything except our gasoline to go back and forth, or their
And
gasoline.
our personal
whatever.
expenses. that
And our
we-
personal expenses that we're putting into it.
So am I still gonna go after this, or are you gonna go after the other one?
I'm hoping that you're gonna support either, whatever's the best for the community and the county.
Well, I think if you talk to the board of realtors, this is important to them.
But that's
Because
only
this,
one
Barbara
portion
Stewart got
of
me,
the community.
Barbara Stewart got me on this. And, so she got me started on this. And then, of course, she passed away. And now I've been talking to another board member. And when I showed him this, he liked us. He said, this is what we need.
But we're
Because right
against
now,
it.
we got people coming into Connersville that we don't have enough housing for them. So you need housing,
And we need assisted living as well.
right? And
And a
that could be
community
very well
center.
put in this.
There's a need for a lot of these things.
Okay. Okay. Anybody got any questions for them? Anybody? Okay, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, go on down to items C, D, E, F, and G. Rosemary?
Resolution 2019-07 is a transfer within first aid, moving $5,000 from perf to overtime. Resolution 2019-08 is a resolution to transfer $300 from first aid uniforms to first aid office supplies. Resolution 2019-09 is a resolution to transfer $15,000 within the police department from perf to overtime. Resolution 2019-10 is a resolution to transfer $800 from police gasoline to police uniforms. Resolution 2019-11 is a resolution to transfer $600 from fuel oil in airport to water and sewer. $500 from fuel oil to repair of equipment, and $600 from fuel oil to electricity within the airport budget.
Okay, need a motion to pass resolution 2019-7 through 11?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Going down to utility matters. Mike?
Hello, just a couple things. The Service Line Warranty Company, should have got the paperwork in your packets. They're requesting to send out information for the fall. They send out information twice a year, one in the spring for the water lines and one time in the fall for sewer and septic lines. So that's what this is for. Attached is the sample. I think they were milling out, little history of the city. A few years ago, backed this company, allowed them to use our logo on their letters. Utility standpoint, we haven't had any complaints from customers with this insurance company, but I'm just a lucky one that gets to come in and present it each time. So I guess I need approval to allow them to send out the mailings for the fall.
Second.
Have a motion second to approve the contract. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much.
The other item, the major drive project we've been talking about most of the spring and summer is pretty much completed. Just waiting for the grass to grow in the area. I sent some before and after photos to you guys to kind of look at the project and how it started and how it ended. Looks pretty good right now. The people can have their backyards back, but they just can't put any structures in the easement. And we're coming up with a letter to send the residents in that area just to remind them one more time about the right-of-way, because we hate for them to damage the pipes that was installed.
Justin, can you get a picture of this and the before and after? Here's the before. Can you get it? I'm talking about on TV. You got that? That's the before. And come on there, papers. And here's the afters. Did you get it all right? Thank you, Justin.
Any questions?
Looks a whole lot better.
It survived the first couple rains, so.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Brad?
Howdy.
Howdy, Brad.
The Grand Avenue project is proceeding along. We're probably, we're probably still on schedule, but just barely. We've had some trouble with the concrete, with the sidewalks and the driveway approaches.
Please confirm that the contractor has not been fired. I've had people ask me about that again.
No. Yes, I can confirm that.
Okay.
The
Have not been
contractor,
fired. It's still
nobody's been fired.
progressing.
Everybody's still working up there. We had some issues with the subcontractor hired by our contractor, but this morning, I think I saw a turn of things for the better, so looks like it's gonna be okay. I'm not saying, I don't know if we'll meet the date of paving by October 6th. I think we'll be within a week or two of that.
Before or after?
After. I'll let you know at the next, we should know a lot by 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Paint Company Lift Station, those guys are actually in town today. They're moving in equipment and starting on that project in the East Connersville. They're actually starting on the west side of the river. They're going to bore under the river from the west to the east. So it'll be a couple more weeks before there's any activity on the east side, but they've got started. I also want to give some extra credit to all of our utility employees. We've been working with a bare bones staff for a long time, and now we've got like 3 or 4 people off with surgeries and different things that's going on, and everybody else is helping fill the holes with not a whole bunch of overtime so far. This last weekend, we lost our both pumps at the Walmart lift station, and our guys on the service crew had to come in and babysit those throughout the whole weekend. We had to send a guy to South Carolina to pick up 2 new pumps, bring those back, and the guys came in as soon as he got back to town and installed them, and they just did an excellent job. So I just want to commend those guys on the service crew that helped with that. I was pretty proud of them.
Tell them thanks, Brad.
I didn't tell them that to their face, but I'm telling you guys. But
And
they
we'll
did
see
a
it
good
on
job.
TV now.
They did a good job, so. Thanks.
Okay, going down, is there any old business? Is there any miscellaneous business? If not, we'll go on down to claims and payroll.
Alrighty, for payroll, we had a total of $361,602.16. For the city claims, we had a total of $113,585.53. Utility claim total was $189,392.84. We need a motion to approve these.
Second?
We have a motion second to play the claims and the payroll. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. Going down to item 8, public forum, Mike?
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of the Everton Volunteer Fire Department as their safety officer and as a member of their dive team. On the 25th of August, we were called to an incident at the canoe launch, as it's referred to, and I called the mayor after we completed the rescue and voiced some concerns that the chiefs had, that we had as a department. We're tasked with one of our responsibilities with the Everton Volunteer Fire Department is we're tasked with the search and rescue and the dive team for Fayette County. And we were just called out to deal with a gentleman that was stuck in the mud down there up to just above his waist. And he had some medical issues. He was on dialysis as well. Don't know exactly why he chose to do this particular activity that was stressful. themselves, but they were trying to make their way out of it, and they got stuck in the mud. And the mud is, like I say, it was up to just over his waist. It was almost up to my waist on me when I went in to pull them out. I have some pictures that I took just today of what it's like down there. That was just a handicap area that we have approached, and what I don't know what the intention is as far as if it's to go natural down there or what, as far as the weeds and just the grass, but I don't know. I just took some pictures and the sign's kind of blocked. But here's one shoe out of probably about a dozen shoes that were down there. Just make my way down the boat ramp. This one here, if we could just stay for a second, that appears as though it's solid ground, and it is not. It is probably a couple of feet deep in mud.
Is that on the ramp?
That is to the north of the ramp. If
Okay.
you're looking towards the river itself, that's just to the north of the ramp. That's a little feeder stream or something that comes in there. And I believe what's happening is when it floods, you're getting the silt that washes back up into there, and it just settles down, and you don't have the fast-moving water to move it, take it away. So that appears as though it's solid ground, but it's not, because one of the individuals that we ended up having to pull across the rope tried to make his way across there and could not. So we had to throw a rope across to pull him across the mud. When we got there, two of the individuals, there were 4 individuals in total. 2 of them had freed themselves and covered from mud from the neck all the way down to their toes. Can you go to the next one, please? So I'm just kind of panning and working my way over to where the incident was. You can see maybe a few footsteps in here. Keep going. There's shoes out here scattered about all over the place. There's aluminum cans that are in the mud that are crushed, and if you're stuck in the mud, you're not going to see it. This will start to sink down. It's going to slice somebody's leg or foot open as they're in there. And that, again, appears as though it's solid, but it's not. It's very deceiving once you get in there. And if you're not medically, if you're not in really good physical shape, you can easily get in there, get distressed, and next thing you know, we're trying to perform CPR in the middle of mud, which is not possible. Keep going, please. There you see a shoe right there, a little rubber shoe.
That's where they lost them trying to go across, didn't it?
Yeah, and there's shoes scattered everywhere. Officer Becker, Joe Becker, was with me on that day, and he counted about a dozen pair of shoes that day too. So the one that was on the boat ramp wasn't there when we were there that Sunday. Keep going, please. This is about on the left side of the screen there where the water is. That's about where the individual was stuck, just a couple feet from the shoreline. Luckily, they had their flotation device in front of them, an inner tube that I used to help get them out of the water, or out of the mud, and break the suction because he couldn't get free. And when I got there, within the minute of arriving on the scene, I just took off my socks and shoes and went in after him and broke the suction and pulled him out because he was starting to stress, and for medical problems and stuff like that, it's not a place where you can really perform any kind of life-saving procedures. Again, there's more shoes at the bottom there. Keep going, please. A couple pairs of shoes. You can see one on the edge. There's one on the grass you really can't see.
That's the ramp right there, isn't it?
That's the end of the ramp. Right there.
Okay, after you called me, we contacted DNR. And one of the things they said was it was our job to remove the silt from the ramp. Now I need those pictures so we can give to the DNR because they take care of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need these pictures to forward to them.
You have them. You have them now.
Okay, and we will forward these onto the DNR and let them see what's going on, because that was their job, is to maintain the ramp down to the launch. I mean, from the driveway down from the top. That's their job to maintain all that, because that's one thing we was wanting to know. And so, let me send these. I'll give these pictures to Catherine and let Catherine get these to the DNR.
Well, you almost have to dredge it out of there. Because, when I walked in, you've got the solid, like the drainage type rock that they'll put on some of the highways, except the large white rock.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to keep my footing in there, but if I would have had to go around behind them, I was concerned about that. If we could keep going, please. Not that one. I want to show you towards the top of the ramp. Okay, those footsteps there appear to be children's footsteps. So, and the only reason that we got the call, if I remember correctly, was somebody was walking across the bridge and heard them calling for help. Now just imagine somebody by themselves that was trying to free themselves and nobody would have heard them. They would be stuck in that mud and, you know, could have gone into cardiac arrest. Keep going, please. Okay, so now this is the drive, this is our dive trailer. We pull with truck 5. We couldn't get our dive trailer down there. We had to shuttle safety equipment back and forth because it is so chopped up and so rutted that our trailer sits low. You'd probably tear the underside of our trailer out. So we had to make, you know, shuttle runs back and forth with gear. Which if I had not jumped in there when I did, it could have been another 25 minutes before we got rescue gear down there to get that individual freed out. EMS was able to come down there, but it was, you know, it was interesting. I had to put my truck in 4-wheel drive to get out of there. So you can't see the ruts here because of the shadows and the pictures, but believe me, it's very rutted up.
Okay,
So I don't know who maintains that, but,
that's a DNR.
okay.
DNR control. Only thing we're supposed to do by the contract is clean the silt off the ramp. And so we'll pass these on and give it to DNR, okay?
Okay.
Anybody got any questions for Mike? Thanks, Mike. We'll get this taken care of.
All right.
Anybody else like to speak? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, adjourn.